Brother Knights all, Vivat Jesus! First, thank you for taking the time to listen. While this presentation is specifically targeted for the Knights in North Carolina, it is also applicable to you in South Carolina, or for that matter, Hawaii or Alaska. This is an opportunity for our state, and equally so for our country. We welcome you to this fight. My intent is to rally an army, what they call God's army, to a noble cause that is worthy of our order, a ministry called Room at the Inn. They are opening up the next front in their fight. They have reached a point where they want to take the next step in achieving the next level, and have reached out to the Knights of Columbus for support. Before we discuss Room at the Inn, it's important to put this discussion in the proper context. By answering this question, what is abortion? In Waxhaw, North Carolina in April, a new mother, in what was probably a case of extreme postpartum depression, left her newborn child exposed in a field next to a burn pile. The baby dies, of course, the body was found, and the mother was arrested. The news picked up the story, ran with it for 3 days. The talking heads couldn't get enough of it. The sheriff said there was just no excuse given our safe surrender laws. The attorney general was threatening the death penalty. The outrage was just palpable in our community, and rightly so. But all for one single innocent human life. And yet today, on a very busy Saturday for the abortion industry, 15 children in Mecklenburg County alone were killed in a far more gruesome fashion, with no news coverage, no talking heads, no police investigation, no outrage. And it's because too many people in our country do not understand, or they choose to ignore the answer to this question. Even in our Congress, during a recent debate over funding for abortion, a congresswoman did not understand why mandating abortion coverage in the health care bill was so contentious. She said, quote, "It's just like getting your tonsils out." Now go look it up on YouTube for yourself. For us Knights, though, we only need to look to our church for the answer. And for that, I'll turn to Blessed Mother Teresa. She had a gift for being direct. And she said, "Abortion is the greatest destroyer of peace in our world, and for that matter, in our country. It is murder by the mother herself. It is a war on the unborn," all her words. And that must be our understanding as Knights. So if it's a war, and it's one that you want to fight, you have to know where the fighting is. The question we have to answer is, where is the fighting the hottest? Where are we needed the most? Where can we as Knights have the most dramatic impact? Now, many people think that the voting booth is the front line, the legislature and the courts who make the laws and rule on them. And while it's critical that we cast our votes for those who understand the answer to our simple question, we've been fighting that front for 40 years, and yet we still have 4,000 abortions a day. It's certainly not a short-term answer. And some would say it's the abortion clinic. And that is certainly the most visible front in the war, the clear line between good and evil. And while those are all critically important battles that we must fight, I would suggest to you that the hottest front in the war is the point of the mother's decision, the point at which she makes a choice between her child and all that comes with that choice, all the repercussions, with all its unknowns and almost certain poverty, or the easy road of abortion, with all its hidden dangers that are so well masked by slick marketing. With that front line as our target, how do we join the fight? First and foremost, get educated. Make sure you know the answer to our opening question. To be educated is to be outraged. Go Google abortion procedure. Spend some time on the Priests for Life website. The more you know, the more you're going to be motivated. Next, pray the rosary. Don't wait until October to pray as a council. The abortion industry works 365 days a year. How powerful if every night in the state prayed the rosary for just one mother rescued or one child saved. When you have the opportunity, show your support. Show up in the voting booth, at fundraisers, at that pro-life mass, at the abortion clinic. Simple things make a huge impact, and too often the few are left to do the work of the many, especially in this fight. And finally, you can pledge your support tonight, today, this afternoon, to help Room at the Inn stand in defense of women, offering a real and positive choice to the abortion industry's easy road. Because where the impact is the greatest, the commitment is the most intense, and they need your help. For those of you that are not familiar with Room at the Inn, they have been at work for 15 years supporting women from all walks of life with pre- and postnatal support, material support, things like formula and diapers and furniture, life skills training and counseling, daycare while they're going to school, and they set the expectation for these women that they will lead a faith-based life while pursuing a career through education. All focused on helping mom become confident in herself and self-sufficient both in taking care of herself and raising her child. Most amazing of all is that they make an unparalleled commitment to their clients for 2 years. They fight at the point of choice, where the resource commitment is the most intense, but they reap what they sow, and the results are great. Outside of the residency program, they provide an outreach program for those women in the community who don't necessarily need the housing support. The same pre- and postnatal counseling is available. They offer the same material support, all the diapers and formulas and whatnot. The same counseling and training is available, and additionally they provide things like adoption referral services. With both of these programs over the last 15 years, they have provided a high level of support to almost 3,500 women. They are a bright beacon of hope and love, showing women the path to making that loving choice and keeping their child. Probably the best way to describe their ministry is to consider one of their clients. A person we'll call Sarah. She was in college in Raleigh, found out she was pregnant. She was disowned by all of those she loved and trusted. She was pressured to have an abortion to make everything right. And through God's grace, she found Room at the Inn. They took her in, and this year she will graduate from Johnson C. Smith University with a degree, with a bright career out in front of her, and most importantly, with a beautiful baby boy. This, my brothers, is a ministry we can and must support.